fact this is still out all these years later, it's great. Anyway, yeah, this is Payday 2. I will be playing Payday 2. I mean, what else can you really do? Um, this is one of the more unique horde shooters out there, I would say. But one of the things that a lot of people are talking about, especially in 2021, when the game has gotten quite stale, is that so many things in this game used to be so much better. I am a firm believer of that myself, actually. Um, the game has drastically changed into something less fun. I mean, I still play it every now and then. It's not like it's unplayable. It's just that, in comparison to what the game used to be, it's heaps different. And that is why I got myself an older version of Payday 2 with 69 players online. Very nice. And I'll be playing it today. But before I do, gotta get rid of that really quickly. Very professional. So many things have changed in this game. Including the entire UI. At least you still get a shit ton of pop-ups for things that you've unlocked, you've earned, whatever. This game was so weird when it came to all that, because it's more like, the more DLCs this game got, the more obnoxious it became. Also, I'll be playing as Wolf, because he's the only character that was really playable on launch. Dallas is kind of boring. That has become a huge meme in the community. Chains is pretty cool. I just don't personally want to play him. And Houston, or Hoxton, as he was called in the old builds, is also very bland, which makes sense because I think the promotional material for this game made them both out to be like brothers or something like that. I don't really know. It's not like it's held up really well. Yeah, whatever. Where do I start out? I think the best, the easiest thing to do would just be like jewelry store. I could honestly play offline. I doubt that anyone's going to join me on this older build of Payday 2, but I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. Yeah, what has really changed?
Okay, crew. This place has a ton of display cases.
A lot of
Smash
things.
and grab style.
Animations, audio design, enemy variations. It's not like there are any new enemies here, it's more like the groups of enemies have changed drastically. The amount of enemies has changed drastically as well, which is one of the main things that I see people talking about nowadays, because in comparison, Payday 2 is such a dumbed down horde shooter at this point.
Okay, we need to clear the joint out.
Oh god.
I'll wait for you here. Don't take too long.
Yep.
Okay, time for a smash and
Another
grab.
thing that is
We're looking for the
really
agreed
funny
amount of jewels from the store.
about
If you want more,
the
go
older
back and get 'em.
build is that it ran quite a lot smoother. I'll be enabling depth of field just because I think, I don't know, if I'm playing an older build, you know...
No civilians.
Right, Wolf has the voice lines, I totally forgot about that. I'll be enabling depth of field just because I think, it looks fine. Don't really want it most of the time, but this is not a standard occasion, so
The display cases are smashable.
might as well. You know, you've done jewelry store like a million times at this point. There's nothing new here. It's not like the heist itself has really changed, not that I know. But it's still a lot different. I'll just try and stealth it anyway. There's a guard right there. hope he doesn't see me. He does see me anyway. Hello, sir. Yes, I know. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm just here to vibe.
Alright, let's roll.
Right. There's no
I don't
impacts.
think that was
so
anything.
If you like hit something with your melee weapon,
At
there's no
all.
blood spurts. For guns there still is, but not for melee. Not even any impact sounds for melee. Oh god. But at least knockdown is a lot more useful.
We have some mighty big rats.
Wolf is still charming as usual. It's just kind of sad that in, you know, the more content they added, they couldn't get his voice actor to do more lines because, you know, Ulf being part of the development team in the beginning and later leaving because he wasn't entirely happy with how the game turned out. Yeah, he just kind of left, I guess. Oh god. Sound propagation. Yeah, they used to actually be scared of sound. This includes you shooting with silenced weapons, hitting a wall, I think.
Don't move.
Oh god.
Stay where you are. Nobody move.
Fuck's sake.
Everybody on the ground. And don't get up.
Stealth
Stay
is still
down.
as mind-numbing as it is. Fuck.
Down. Stay the
Police are incoming.
fuck
Keep
down.
your pass up.
At least I'll be able to show some gameplay.
Through my feet, I got a split. I'll come back in a few. Stay frosty. Here they come.
No, I would be playing this with other people. Oh no.
On the ground.
Jesus Christ. These two, yeah. Should be fine.
Looks like they sent an extraction team to free the civilians, folks. Let them know who's running it.
God, gunshots sound so much more punchy in this. I don't know if it's just like me making things up, but
Now, you gotta do something about it.
generally how sound works in the older builds was much more fleshed out. The game got a lot of praise for the sound design when it came up, which is really funny, because there's basically nothing of it left in the current build. Well, the sound design in general is kind of lacking currently, but it used to be better. They made it worse, I guess, because the game got bigger and bigger, and they wanted to also keep some performance issues in check, I would assume. It's sad, but I guess you can live with it. It's not too bad. I remember, I'm gonna be like a lot. There's going to be a lot of rambling. At its core, Payday 2 is still a lot of shooting. Oh Jesus Christ. The guns actually have recoil in this, holy. I'm gonna be rambly, I guess, cause I played the game quite a shit ton when I was way younger. Just to kind of like give you an idea of if you're actually still watching at this point. I'm roughly 20 years old. Turning a bit older very soon. Definitely not looking forward to that, but what can you do? When I was 14, roughly, I got interested in Payday 2 because a YouTuber that I was watching at the time made a video about it, and it looked exactly like something that I would be interested in. I liked Left 4 Dead 2, couldn't really play it, but Payday 2 had a demo. I downloaded it, played it, loved it, found some of my best friends through this community, which is still something that keeps this game alive and fresh in 2021. Mod Workshop, you know, oh, this is now. Mod Workshop being as big as it is, still keeping the game fresh, new mods being uploaded every single day. The game's still getting content updates. I don't know what that animation there was. I think I'll wait for the soul look to be over. But yeah. Oh, I forgot! In current Payday 2, the civilians have sort of like a grace frame. When you hit them once, wait a couple of seconds, you can hit them again and they won't die. That's not the case here. If you hit them once with your weapon stock, they just die. That is funny. I don't think I really remember that. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. I played this game roughly... I played the demo quite a lot. When they only had the bank heist, the normal bank heist. At least you can still get shot through walls. It's but it's something that's not new, I guess. Yeah, so I played the demo when there was only one heist, which was the normal bank heist. And later on, I think they added one-shots, which was really weird. Couldn't really play it then, but because I already owned the full game, but I guess it was nice. But yeah, I bought the game, got some of the DLC roughly when I think Armored Transport came out. I was so amazed at the Team Fortress 2 Sentry being like in Payday 2. I thought like, wow, that's so cool, and it's one of the coolest things ever. Turns out, you know, the game basically had oh Jesus, quite a lot of other crossovers in the years to come. Oh Jesus. This is going to take a lot longer than I hoped. I don't know if I should just redo it. This game is a lot more difficult. I don't think this is going to work out very well. I feel like in current Payday 2, with the whole perk deck thing going on, you can easily just rush through a jewelry store heist, even on loud. That's not really the case here. I am already dying out of stamina, and this is just on very hard. Yeah. I think. Yeah, that's the end for me. Even if I had any more hostages left, I wouldn't be able to come back. That is something they added later, much later. Which is kind of a thing in this game, really. At least I still get XP. Yeah, tiny bit. Wow. No, I'll try this again. When the game came out, 2013? I think they had a beta 2013. A lot of people were calling this the Dark Souls of heisting games. You're not supposed to call it that. It's... I hate, you know, comparing everything to like one specific thing. The Dark Souls of X, the Deftones of Y. That's the most like uninteresting stuff that you could possibly do. The most easy comparisons. You could call, I don't know, Assetto Corsa the Dark Souls racing games, but that's not how it works.
5 by 5, you're still okay.
Oh, here we go.
I don't see much.
I would say that Payday 2, when it came out, was more like... I don't know, it was unforgiving. You had to play with a team. I'm not playing with a team. I only got 2 bots. That was also something they added later on. I don't get any of those AI boosts. You know, like faster interaction, them having one inspire every like, I don't know how long.
Watch where you're shooting. Don't kill unarmed civilians.
Get down!
What are you, mental? I've told you several times not to kill civilians. If you end up in custody, they will hold on to you for eternity.
Oh Jesus. This is going to fuck up again. No! Ah, this is worthless. uh, um, I'll play on offline from now on. I think, yeah. This is going to be much easier.
Okay, crew. Okay.
Yeah, I played Payday 2. When I still played the demo, I found a couple of friends that I added on Steam. We would talk every day. God rest his soul. Times be a changing, I guess. For how long this game has been out, I feel like I'm not the only one to have an experience like that.
Alright, let's
Most
roll.
definitely not. That's just kind of how these games go sometimes. But yeah, this definitely made the game a bit more special for me,
My fault.
I guess,
hit
which
it
is
by
why I
accident.
played it a lot more than say other games. Even though, you know, my enjoyment for this game has definitely declined over the years to come.
You're still good. No one's hurt you yet.
Let's see if I can actually do this. I don't remember, but I think...
Remember, no civilians.
Okay, no one heard that? Okay.
Display cases are smashable.
Oh, Jesus.
Get down.
Alright, they,
Down on the ground.
I think they can notice open windows? In current Payday 2, open windows, no one gives two shits about them. But, back then it was like,
Down.
yeah, if someone saw an open window, you're done for. They're gonna call the police. Someone, tried to break in, you know, cause broken windows, they never happen. Excuse me. It's actually kind of funny. I feel like a lot of the older memes that this game had, they don't really apply anymore. You know, you still have people walking through walls. You still have enemies tasing or cloaking you through walls. Which, yeah. I think cloakers were not in this build, if I remember correctly. They got added later on. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken though. Oh. Jesus.
Down on the ground.
Oh, I'm such a shit shot.
Nobody
No.
knows anything.
Oh, this is going.
Tend to forget, you know.
Oh man. Payday 2 has changed so much. No! God. Alright. I guess this is where the fun begins, eh? Stealth in Payday 2 currently is just such a mess. You've got meta builds, restarting made everything a lot easier. What a lot of people would do would be to get like a build that had a little bit of everything. Someone who had more stealthy skills, who would be a lot more useless on loud. You would have someone who had all the loud skills, and you don't want him to be seen in stealth at all, because he would instantly alert everyone. Because, you know, he had like big armor and whatever else.
Right up, I think. We have to restart it.
Thanks, Dallas. That is not the case anymore. In most cases, if you play stealth online, that's your own fault. It's just not a good experience to me, really. But you have all those skills that you need for stealth, pager skills, body bag cases, maybe Hawk DCM now. I really haven't played the game properly ever since Joy came out, but I would assume that it's something that that is like very much for stealth, even though a lot of people are also using it on loud, which I guess is neat. But you also have multiple skill presets, like skill sets, right? Yeah, that's the thing. God, shooting this game is much more difficult than I remember. There weren't any skill presets back in 2014, 2015. that got added in 2017 or 18 or something like that. Really changed how the game was played. I guess it's kind of neat, but you know, you can always look at the past with rose-tinted glasses and be like, oh wow, everything used to be so much better back then. I feel like what really made Payday 2 stand out was that you had people who were good at one specific thing. In current Payday 2, this mostly boils down to, okay, this guy is completely skilled towards shotguns, so he's only using shotguns. This guy has full ICTV armor, he can tank all the shots. Oh, Jesus. Or he just uses fully automatic weapons, or pistols. Oh. The flashbangs are so much worse. You can no longer shoot flashbangs. Yeah, that was not a thing back then. They would just go off randomly around you. Really cool. Oh no. Ah, Jesus. You gotta hit them once for them to drop the bag and then go back into cover, reload. At least the escape cars here. God damn it. Civilian. Yeah. God. It really makes you feel a lot more like you're part of something rather than everything revolving around you. If that makes any sense. I know I'll be saying a lot of ums and stuff. It's just that I'm thinking quite a lot. I'm not really used to speaking to myself, I guess. Even though I did do a small series where I played Faster Than Light for friends all those years ago, which I don't know if they're around anymore. I played Payday 2 with them as well, though much later, so they couldn't really experience how it used to be. Okay, time to play the good old bag throwing simulator. I really don't remember which kind of role I played when there was like so these different dynamic builds going on, and I'm down. Oh Jesus. I know that I think I did play armor quite a lot. I would be the person to sort of try and carry in sticky situations or hold out whenever the entire gang was down. Also, the sound design is so much better. Come on. No sniper down line? Damn. Oh, Jesus. Sounds so much better. Oh god. No, don't shoot me. I'm just a poor boy. Trying to make a living in DC. Poor Swedish boy who left the team. Oh no, chains. No! Oh, damn it. Shit. I don't really remember if that is a thing in current Payday 2 right now. I just always pick, like, specific skills, so I don't really remember, to be honest, but you couldn't really use your primary whenever you were down. You also couldn't get cable ties back from enemy ammo pickups. Oh. No, that's not worth it. It's not worth it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, goodbye chains. So it's just a thing between me and devils. The bots were a lot more useless at first as well. Devils is trying his hardest, but he's getting shot quite a lot. Not really taking anyone down. He's trying his hardest. Fight for survival. The drill is still going. I don't really need to go for the drill. Right now it's more like me trying to get to the escape van. Please get down, lady. You're going to die. Now, I don't remember if this was a thing really, but in my head, I think civilians could die from enemy fire. I don't know if that was really the case in the beta or the alpha. Might have been a thing in the alpha. If anyone knows, I'd really be happy to see anyone comment on this video. I'm really more doing this for myself than anyone. Oh Jesus. Wow. Yeah, but a lot of oh god. No, 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 no. No! I thought it's a cooldown. Maybe it's still a fade out phase. I really want to finish this if possible. Aiming down your sights is a no-go as well. There is a skill for that, if I do remember correctly. Oh, oh Jesus. Thought I had one. It's 4. Ooh. No, 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 no. No. Jesus. I honestly don't know if I'll actually end up cutting this down. There's a lot of rambling that I'll be doing, so I do kind of want to keep all of it in, as I said at the beginning. But maybe a lot of people are looking for more pure footage of Payday 2 when it came out, in which case I'm sorry that I'm rambling so much, but I'll just try to give like my honest opinion of how things used to be, what has really changed, what I thought, my history with the game, so that people can see what the game was sort of like to a person that has spent quite a lot of time in the game in its current build, which I have approximately like 2,000 hours at this point. I had a lot of phases where I stopped playing the game. I think a lot of us definitely did. For good reasons. If you, the viewer, has really spent a lot of time with the game in the past, I don't know, 5 years, I think you'll definitely remember Crankfest and the saves that they introduced with the paid skins. Yeah, what the fuck fest that was, right? I hated it. I was really not a fan of the skins. They are sadly a part of the game now at this point. But at least there's a lot of free ones now. And yeah, they're kind of part of the base game at this point. You get a free skin every day. It's like free 1 cent if you boot up the game every day. Maybe sometimes 2 cents depending on how rare your skin is. But another thing back then, the textures for some of the guns, some of the enemies looked better back then as well. In order to save a lot of space, what the developers did was they retouched some of the weapon textures. Also, I think to avoid some issues. Though, I don't want to be quoted on that. Jesus. There were some, like, markings on certain weapons that were definitely from, like, a test phase, I guess you could call it. They weren't really supposed to be seen by people, but they kind of made it into the live build, as is kind of common with these sorts of things. I guess even years later, there's still some things in this game that exist and need to be taken out or changed. But yeah, just sort of to kind of give you an idea of how big the game currently is. This version is relatively bare bones, has a lot of reused heists, and is roughly, if I remember correctly, 15 or 20 gigs? And I'm down again. I should honestly just play on normal instead. The difficulties in the older game were so much more painful, whereas we now laugh at normal, hard, and very hard. They definitely weren't jokes back then, that's for sure. I'll go do something else, I guess. Oh, I got weapon mods? Ah, right, yeah, I did get something, I guess. Oh no, that's from having, yeah, it's from having the loot bag DLC. Shoutouts to the 10,000 or so people that actually have the loot bag DLC. I think I might... I might be able to do Mall Crasher. Yeah, Mall Crasher is relatively easy. Even back then, it was relatively easy to just rush through Mall Crasher.
Yep, you heard him right. Vlad is serious. Okay, the mall's up ahead. Get
I know a lot of people are talking about how current Payday 2 looks a lot worse than it used to be, but I feel like that's maybe also considering when the game first came out, it didn't really look good. A lot of people were praising the sound design, as I mentioned before, but in the art department, there were a lot of inconsistencies as well as just bad textures, bad models. Of course, that doesn't detract from the fun of the game. Please get down.
On the ground.
Please get down.
On the ground.
Please get down.
Get down.
Get down, please. No! Ah, for crying out loud. Yeah, it's going loud then. Not to mention that, God, one of the main things that people praised in this game specifically, also in Payday the Heist if I remember correctly, was that the music was just absolutely insane. Simon Viklund is one of the main reasons why Payday 2 has become as popular as it did. I'm almost certain. His interactions with the community, his music, the different styles that he did, they really pushed the game to another level. I hope that he's doing rather well with whatever he's doing right now. He kind of left the team in order to come freelance, which is definitely something that, yeah, a lot of people have seen coming, a lot of people wanted him to do, and honestly, all the best to him and his work, because they really made this game. And yeah, not to discredit the other people that made music for Payday 2. The other tracks that weren't made by Simon Viklund, minus the ones by La Castlevania, because if you play those on YouTube, you're gonna have an issue. As well as on Twitch. I'm not really that much of a Twitch person, but I'm trying to get into streaming. I don't know if anyone would even be willing to watch it, and I feel like streaming to like 0 people kinda detracts from the fun, which is why I'd rather record a long video, kinda upload that, and you know, have someone play it in the background while they're doing something, doing the dishes, just playing something to have some background noise. I do that a lot myself, actually. Having some videos on in the background, it's just kind of, you know, again, it gets rid of that emptiness sometimes, if anyone really relates to me, I think. It's just kind of like, you know, your friends aren't always there, and just listening to music can get quite a bit stale. Maybe there's a person that you really like that's streaming or uploads videos to YouTube, and unless they're super obnoxious, they maybe sometimes talk about random interesting things or just things about themselves. It's nice. It's people have made long videos about what it's called, but I can't really be bothered to remember that. It just kind of makes you feel a bit less lonely.
Thanks.
Which, yeah, a lot of us are struggling with loneliness during 2020 and 2021, aren't we? Or even longer, depending on what kind of person you are. Why are you still standing here? Oh my god. The AI really hasn't gotten better. It really hasn't. And that's kind of like one of the things that I hope never changes. Payday 3 is on the horizon, I guess. Epic Game Store exclusive. Hear me out. It's just going to happen. It's I'm almost certain it's going to be an Epic exclusive. Knowing Overkill, they care a lot more about money than the community of their games. They can act like they care about their community, but they've just kind of shown in the past that is not really the case, which made a lot of people sad, including me. I really hope that Payday 2 carries on as it is, which I know sounds really weird, but hear me out. I really hope that Payday 2 as it is keeps getting content even post Payday 3 launch. 2 teams working on 2 games is a mess, but you have to consider how much bigger Payday 2 and Overkill is all these years later. It was sort of an indie game when Payday 2 came out. Payday the Heist most definitely was an indie game. I think they marketed, a friend of mine told me that, they marketed Payday the Heist as a AAA game for the price of, like for half the price, or like a third of the price, whatever. I guess you could definitely say that. Oh, Jesus. Don't die on me. Can I do this? Is this possible? Oh my god, I did it. No, Dallas, don't die. Ooh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I don't have any ammo anymore.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so where was I? Right. If you have 2 teams working on 2 different games, okay, you're gonna have issues. But one of the main things is that when Payday 2 came out, people complained about the lack of content. There were barely any heists. The heists that were there were mostly, I don't know, just kind of all over the place, as well as reused heists. The Ukrainian job is just the jewelry store with a couple of differences. I remember it didn't really bother me all that much, but I know people that were really bothered by that. If you have two teams working on Payday 2 and Payday 3, you still have all the content that is Payday 2, plus new content to come. Just, I don't know, new heist every 2 months, or new guns, or maybe no new characters. The game doesn't really need new characters. But Payday 3 will most definitely have the same issue when it comes out. And if they shift their entire focus to be on Payday 3, please get out of my face.
You look like death, man.
Jesus. The game could become dead on arrival. Basically a stillbirth.
You look bad.
Sorry for that description. But yeah, I just always had the fear that if Payday 3 was to become a thing, which now it's kind of, you know, certain it's going to be a thing, that it could just be dead on arrival. If a game is dead on arrival, it'll have issues ever turning the wheel back. What do I mean by that? Okay, I am a racing game fan. Yeah, you could say, you know, that I have played quite a lot of racing games in my time. I think before Payday 2, really, I was mostly into racers rather than shooters, which that time came later. But Project Cars 3 recently released to relatively bad reviews for good reasons, and I know this is a kind of a bad comparison, but hear me out. So, the game was not what Project Cars was. It was sort of more an arcade, simcade version of a simulation racer, which there is demand for that, of course, but seeing as it was a game in the Project Cars franchise, it was basically destined to fail. And with that, you had basically no people buying the game, no people playing the game on launch day. You had all the content that's coming out now in packs of DLC is basically stuff that you had in the older games, if I remember correctly, and was mostly done anyway by the time that Project Cars 3 released. Which, yeah, it could get you thinking, why would they do this? What were they thinking? But this basically means that Project Cars as a franchise is dead. Unless they do a reboot, it's dead. Another explanation, I guess. Let's see. Can't really come up with anything. But there's definitely a lot of examples where basically a game is dead on arrival. Oh yeah! Anthem is a good example. The game is dead on arrival, no one's playing it. The people that are playing it are mostly complaining about how bad the game itself is, really. And I maybe shouldn't have charged into the open like that. Please don't die, Dallas. No, Dallas. But if Payday 3 gets the same treatment, I feel like a lot of people are somewhat burnt by Payday 2, and they don't want history to repeat itself. Just barely did that, Jesus Christ. They will be watching videos before actually buying the game, seeing as it is probably going to be on the Epic Game Store. That is the best idea anyway. I don't want to create an Epic Game Store account just to play Payday 2, but with less content, if that makes any sense, on a different engine. Jesus, you level up so slowly. Oh well. The progression definitely has been boosted because a lot of people, yeah, that was one of the things in this game. the community was on a constant battle with the developers, where the developers wanted the game to be a grindfest that is difficult, and you really have to consider what you're getting yourself into, what you're buying. And of course the community complained, because who would want something like that, am I right? So they upped the rate at which you gain EXP, money, slightly, ever so slightly, every now and then. Absolutely funny when you were around at the time, which I kind of wasn't, to be fair. I didn't really have the money, as well as, I guess I didn't have the time. I was relatively young, and, my parents were quite strict. Yeah, I don't really have that issue anymore, seeing as I'm up at 1 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, doing who knows what. Things that you probably shouldn't say out loud, to be honest. Yeah. This just takes me back, because I used to play this game so much. Especially with the friend that I mentioned at the beginning, which is definitely story of its own. I do miss that guy quite a lot. I was looking at my Twitch the other day. More specifically, I was looking at the 4 channels that were following me, and one of the people, or rather two actually, 2 of the people that were following me, were just that person. And it put a smile on my face, considering that, well, he hasn't really been around in, it's been like 5 years now. Oh no, I got attacked. Okay, 4 stores hasn't really changed from what I remember. You still place drills, grab all the money you can get.
Get down on the ground.
Nowadays, you collect those engage packages, which aren't a thing in this, I know. Quite scary. Weapon mods were rare in this version of the game, which is really funny. I'm now drowning in weapon mods and quite a lot of other things, as well as money and EXP. One of the main things that people use as, like, what's the word? A reason to keep playing Payday 2 in 2021 is all the infamy levels that you have now. I think they have like 500 different levels with rewards up until level 90, which really, you know, makes you think, do you really want to keep playing a game just for a prestige system? Call of Duty has been doing this since... I'm not really a Call of Duty fanboy, but I think it was a thing in Modern Warfare 2? Maybe? If someone wants to correct me on that, just go ahead. I mostly played the new Call of Duty, well, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is for me the new Call of Duty still, because I really wasn't happy with how Black Ops Cold War turned out.
Get down.
It's quite funny, actually.
On
I was
the ground.
kind of looking forward to Black Ops Cold War because I played a lot of Modern Warfare when it was announced. And then after the first teaser, like the first gameplay footage that the public could see, I was just so disappointed. I just really didn't want to play it anymore, or get it in the first place. And I ended up budging anyway because zombies, of course, which I feel like the developers kind of noticed that a lot of people are playing the game for the zombies rather than the multiplayer, because the multiplayer is an absolute mess. Yeah. Still a lot of waiting in this game. Even if you manage to pick up all the collectibles on 4 stores, you're inevitably gonna have to open one of the safes, which is always going to take a while. Yeah, 2 hostages, this should be fine. Getting even 1 skill point in Payday 2 in the beginning was a huge thing, because you needed to put skill points into a tree to unlock the specific deployable. The Doctor Bag, Ammo Bag, ECMs, and oh yeah, the C4 and sentries and stuff like that. They kind of removed that at a later point where you can start out at level 1, level 0 rather, with a deployable. Yeah, that actually made the game a lot more playable for new players. But I feel like this also did drag away from the difficulty in a way. Not saying this game wasn't still not difficult or something like that. Payday 2 is still very difficult, especially on Death Sentence. Yeah, I don't really play on Death Sentence. It's a complete. It's a bad difficulty basically, and I know who's responsible for that, but I'm not gonna go too in depth with that. I just don't like how the difficulties work in Payday 2 currently. I feel like they kind of had a thing going back then where, of course, enemies would have more health, but mainly you would have different enemy forces. I guess you could say that for Death Sentence, but they don't really work differently. Now I could be mistaken, but all the different factions, I guess you could call it, not really factions, more like NPC types, had different strategies in this. You also had hostage rescue units, which are, I think mostly they appear in Payday 2 now when there's a scripted event going on and they are supposed to spawn.
Get down.
But even that doesn't work sometimes. But you also had different enemies spawning on different difficulties, which of course is still a thing in Payday 2, though not to the degree as it is right now. I should say new game, old game, just to make it a bit clearer, I guess. I'm trying to sort of pay attention as well, which is something that I can't really properly do, like playing the game and speaking at the same time. Difficult task, I know. I have it so difficult. No, not really. I feel like the different shields that spawn were nice on the higher difficulties. Like you have the round one, which is mostly on the lower difficulties, like normal, hard, very hard. You have the taser, which only appears on very hard, if I remember correctly. Dozers and cloakers and everything, they spawn at a specific difficulty, which was really nice because the higher the difficulty was, the higher the difficulty would be. Currently in Payday 2, I feel like aside from having enemies with a bit more health or a bit more damage output, there isn't a whole lot more to difficulty, really. Enemies becoming bullet sponges, no damage drop off to enemies, but then giving damage drop off to guns that the players use in order to make it more balanced, which doesn't really work. A lot of people really hate the fall off system that they implemented, praising it as, like, the developers were praising it as being like a complete rework of how guns work in Payday 2, and there was basically no change aside from some guns dealing less damage on range, so you can't properly insta-kill snipers anymore. It's just not fun. It's really not fun. Oh yeah, something that they removed is the small weapon descriptions, which made absolutely no sense sometimes, and mostly placeholder. But I guess it's a bit of flavor text which is missing now, as well as the bars, which yeah, I don't like the system of bars. I also don't like the system of having the game straight up tell you how much damage a gun does. It does make the game feel a lot like it's an RPG, but maybe there is some middle ground there, but I can't really think of it right now. Yeah, anyway. So, the old skill trees, no perk decks, the old skill trees were completely different. As I mentioned before, you have to unlock the deployables manually before you can actually equip them. The ammo bag is a lot more useful because you actually do tend to run out with all of your guns, not just specific guns that have bad pickup. Which is why the game was a co-op shooter, or mainly a co-op shooter. You couldn't really play on your own. I'm struggling very hard playing with the AI, and I guess it shows. Seeing as I'm an hour in, and I've managed to finish 2 heists at this point, which is kind of sad, honestly. But yeah, I remember I mainly went for stuff in Mastermind and Ghost because I like running quite a lot, and Ghost gave you things such as you could pack an attack with loot bags faster. They did sort of change how some of the skill trees worked later on, but as it is now, it's still mostly how it was before they completely reworked how skill trees worked, and before they added perk decks and stuff like that. Right now, I will just go for getting more stamina, as well as getting more stamina. Yeah, like stamina. When you run, I think the AI has a higher chance of missing you, but I might just be making that up, actually. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about as well. You've got jewelry store, you've got jewelry store again. Oh, let's do the nightclub, actually. A lot of the heists are mostly just kind of like the same thing over and over again, sort of to fluff out time. The game was not finished when it came out. That is basically what I'm trying to say here. Okay, let's see. Do I remember how to properly play this? I still occasionally play Nightclub, but to say the least, I'm not paying attention anymore. Oh god, yeah. That was Bane, by the way. Bane's voice lines are so bad. The mic quality was completely different. I don't exactly know why that was the case.
Sorry guys,
but
you're not on the list.
that was the thing anyway. Friend of mine, best friend currently actually, said that when the game came out and he was playing with his friends, he didn't even know this was Bane at first, because he sounded like a completely different person. And I think I realized that it was Bane, but I can see why you would think that it's a different person. Oh Jesus. And don't spot me. Can I stealth this maybe?
Let's roll.
Oh, Jesus. No, I can't. I can't. Alright, let's load.
Security door? Damn. Well, one of the guards must have a key of his own.
But, yeah. It's coming back now. It's just, you can play Payday 2 currently by just shutting your brain off. When it came out, that wasn't really a thing. They really did want you to play with your team. Most of the objectives were go there, wait there, eliminate these people. And while you were holding out, they would throw shit tons of enemies at you. At least at the time, shit tons. In comparison to how the game is now, it's not a lot. It's really not a lot.
Police units just got here.
Where is it? Oh yeah, here's the badass. Badass! Yeah, gotta get a screenshot of that. Oh, and before I forget it, you've got, you know, Happy Willies for keeping your privates happy.
Get down.
Right? You got Cobra, you got, I think that, can't really read that. Is that, Constrictor? No. Are my textures on high? Yeah, they are. That is that is what I was saying in the beginning. The game came out basically looking like a game from roughly, I'd say, 2006, 2007, roughly the start of the HD generation, which a lot of people, of course, mention. Of course, it doesn't really detract from the entertainment that a game can provide, but you know, you can have a mix of both. A game looking good and being fun at the same time. Seeing as I'm only playing on normal, I think I'll have a much easier time. Which makes me relatively happy. I think, seeing as Overkill was the highest difficulty in the original build, to compare it, I'd say normal was basically all the difficulties between normal and very hard. Then you had hard in this, which is basically Overkill in the current build. Very hard, which I would say is Mayhem. Yeah, maybe Mayhem and Death Wish, yeah. And then you had Overkill, which is still basically like Death Wish. Because Death Sentence is not fun and not a proper difficulty, and I refuse to acknowledge it as a proper difficulty. I have a ton of issues with Death Sentence. Whenever I do play Death Sentence, which I did sort of binge it for quite a while, while barely enjoying it, that is. Death Sentence is the difficulty where people go to that keep on saying, damn, Payday 2 is such an easy game, and I want the challenge. Is it a good challenge? Not by any means. Does it incentivize team play? Not at all. It's just kind of boring, and you've seen it all before, and it doesn't really do a whole lot to keep things fresh. And instead of adding new gameplay mechanics, it gives you the same gameplay mechanics as all the other difficulties while giving them a shit ton of HP and absolutely insane damage output. Yeah. Also, money everywhere, you know, to keep you looking throughout the level, trying to get all the hidden pickups, which is why they later made that Gage courier package DLC, where you could find these packages all around the levels and get cool rewards for that, which I did approximately 10 times for each package. And then all the other packages were just kind of randomly because other people picked them up for the extra EXP. Nothing against that, of course. It was neat. It was new. A great DLC actually. Even considering it gave EXP to people who didn't own the DLC. You know, that's kind of the stuff that DLC was really difficult to see against that background. But that's kind of the thing that I wanted to see from DLC, really. You would have something for everyone that bought the DLC, as well as people that didn't buy the DLC. Now, of course, a lot of the heist DLCs were kind of an exception, as in they came with a lot of content. But you do have to consider, which, you know, that is still the thing, of course. If the host bought a specific heist DLC, he would be able to host it for everyone, even people who didn't own it. Which I think people playing Call of Duty on Xbox 360 and PS3 might remember joining a lobby and then someone had like a specific map that was tied behind DLC and you just get kicked out of the lobby without being able to play that DLC, or like playing with the rest of the group that you were maybe just getting friends with. Or at least as friendly as you can be on Call of Duty, especially consoles back in 2008, 2009 roughly. I'm getting my timers wrong. I do have to admit that I'm not really a console player. I mostly played PS2, didn't own a PS3. Later got myself, when I got older, got a job and everything, I bought a PS4. Yeah. So I did play quite a lot of games on PC, which roughly had the same issues. You know, you're getting into a lobby, kind of talking to people, having a good time, and then someone votes for a DLC map and you get kicked out of the lobby. It's a very fun experience. Jesus, what was that? Oh yeah, snipers. Not dead yet. There you go. I think I should probably turn up the motion, the depth of field actually at this point. Nailed this much better. I don't know why he nailed it. I thought it would look cool, it really doesn't. The game's kind of dark, which they changed shaders later on. The shaders are basically shadows, lighting, everything associated with that. As you could see earlier, I couldn't really change the shadow quality, which I think was kind of the reason why they changed shaders, maybe. The shaders in current Payday 2 look very bad, weird, and barely work from what I remember. As in, they caused heavy performance losses. Yeah, this is much better. Depth of field really doesn't look good. "77 seconds remaining." Oh, I have a chat. Am I playing offline still? I don't know. I didn't pay attention actually. Yeah, you really do shut your brain off while playing the game alone. Usually back then when when I was still using Skype, I'd be like in a 3-hour Skype call with my friend that I was talking about earlier, and we talk about all these weird things and like exchange stories and get to know each other, while also still trying to play the game properly, which was difficult seeing as neither of us was really good at the game, and we were still learning the game. Now I pretty much know the game in and out, except for maybe a few things here and there, because they came after the time where I was really invested. But yeah, I just kind of because you were still learning, I guess you were really paying attention to everything. And that mostly boils down to, rather like currently it's like, when a new heist comes out, I play it like 1 or 2 times. It's stuff that I've seen before, maybe one gimmick, like the most recent one is Bullock's Mansion, which isn't a bad heist per se. I think it's okay, aside from the performance issues. But the puzzle as a gimmick is kind of lame. You can get it done really quickly, but then going forward, you will definitely have favorite heists in the game. In this case, for me, I think I really like Mall Crasher. I like Watch Dogs. What else? I liked Firestarter. Firestarter was really cool. Framing Frame was really nice. And that is even more so the case the more heists were added to the game. Bullock's Mansion is one of those heists that you don't want to play anymore after the first or second time, unless you're modding a VTuber to replace the shark in. Which, by the way, Matt, thanks a lot. This really made Bullock's Mansion a playable heist. I don't really like VTubers, but it's cute seeing a girl swim in a pool below you and then eating the boss at the end, which is really a boss. But yeah, if you have like favorites, for example, I would say in the current build for me, it's definitely Big Bang. Big Bang is a heist that I see myself playing a lot. You will not want to play the heists that are bad, such as, but not limited to, Bullock's Mansion, or Dragon's Heist, or all of the bomb heists, because the bomb heists are not fun, and I tried to play them recently and they weren't fun. Come on, Dallas, shoot him. That was useless. But if you have favorites, you'll probably end up only playing the heists that you don't want to play because of the achievements, which Payday 2 knows currently. That a lot of people are like just playing it for the achievements. I mean, there's like what 1,400 achievements at this point. Oh Jesus. Instant escape. All right. I need to wait for the. Oh wow. Okay. I wanted to say I need to wait for the assault to be over, but here we go. There's the shotgunner, underutilized in the current build. Dallas, please. I'm playing poorly and I apologize for that. The game doesn't really give you a lot of things to hold on to. You have no HP regeneration. Armor is very, very slow and important, but in turn you get shot quite a lot more. There's also this underutilized threat rating, which I think was Jesus was much more important when it came out. Not that much of an important role in the game currently.
Disco Inferno. Nicely
Yeah.
done. Let's get paid.
I'm not really a fan of all the achievement things, even though Payday 2 does tie things behind achievements at this point. They have done so for quite a while, where you have to, for example, kill 50 enemies with a specific sniper rifle from hipfire to unlock like a specific scope or something like that. While I don't like the idea, I guess it's neat, and it's something to keep people playing the game, which is, you know, always something that you want in your game. Keep people playing it. Yeah, it's kind of funny how it's not really the case in Payday 2 anymore. It's just kind of slaving away at the same few things every so and so long minutes to unlock something or get a specific achievement, or maybe you're playing with a friend and you're just mucking about doing dumb things. Oh yeah, I think this is important. Oh, I totally forgot about this, right. You had skills as well as tier bonuses that would just straight up increase the value of things that you picked up. That is such a dumb system, but this is again what I was talking about in the beginning, where everyone had like specific skills for every heist going into it. Maybe they had skills that would help them both in stealth and loud, or they would completely get rid of those skills and go for things that are more general, like, for example, adding more value to the to your loot, or interacting with things faster, or just having faster movement speed, melee skills, stuff that is, you know, both usable in stealth. Did I say stealth twice? Whatever. Stuff that is usable in stealth and loud at the same time, except for just going for like, oh, I'm going to go full stealth, I'm going to go full loud. There are still sort of skills in Payday 2 currently where they're definitely geared towards both stealth and loud players, but I feel like they've kind of become less and less. What I mean with that is, like, you'll see mostly everyone running around with a specific set of skills. There aren't really skills that everyone should have for both loud and stealth, except for like the one that lets you like sprint in any direction, which is a thing in this as well. And maybe like basic things such as stability, even though you don't really need stability in stealth. But maybe it's just nice knowing that you won't handle your guns like a toddler wielding a gun for the first time, you know. It's not a whole lot of variety here right now. I guess I will do the bank heist on hard, and then that will be it, I think. I might boot this game up at a later date and play some more. Try to get footage of Watch Dogs,
Pure and simple.
maybe Frame to Frame, but I don't know if it was in yet. And I'll upload that too while talking about certain things.
Straight cash in. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Alright, let's roll.
Right now, I think, having seen Mall Crasher, seeing how slow you kind of progress, even though I played on hard earlier and stuff like that, I think I'm playing on hard again. But this time I have armor, so it should be a lot easier.
Okay, great. Now get that thing to the vault door.
I might even make a sort of similar video like this, where I just roughly play Payday 2 in its current build for a while, and I just talk about some things, maybe my hopes and wishes for Payday 3, just things that I want to like get off my chest, which is why I did this in the first place. Of course, I also wanted to talk about Payday 2 because it's a game that means quite a lot to me, and definitely has shaped me as an adult, which is weird to say, but you have to consider how long the game has been out for. Also got detected there. That was kind of stupid, but who cares? Yeah.
Now it's just a matter of time.
These old animations as well, they have something to them. The old animator put a lot of effort into them, trying to make some of the animations,
Shut up and get down.
how should I put it? Okay, so
Down on the
as
ground.
most of the people that would be interested in a video like this probably know, none of the attachments in Payday 2 change the way a gun is held or works, except for the auto fire and single fire things, but basically there is no thing such as a drum mag for the AK, because the animator, rather the way the game handles animations doesn't really allow for switching out animations because of mods. Now I don't know if this is an engine limitation or if this is just the spaghetti code that is adding up and the developers don't know how to properly work around their own code anymore, which I guess might be the case, who knows. But what the animator did basically was he tried to make all the attachments, like all the mods, not the mods, the animations work out in a way that all the mods could basically be interchanged without adjusting the animations in the slightest. Which means there's no such thing as a drum mag. The way you hold the mag in the cross-kill animations allows the magazine to be a lot, or like a bit longer, so that it doesn't, you know, clip too much, or that you don't notice it instantly. Things such as foregrips were supposed to be in the game, if I remember correctly, but didn't make it due to what I just mentioned.
Shut up and get down.
Because they just kept clipping quite a lot. Didn't stop me from using a mod that added a bunch of foregrips. It was nice having the option to use that, which is also something that I could talk for hours about, just like how much this game has profited from modding, and Payday 3 basically being announced to be on the Unreal Engine 4. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure right now. Not really too well versed with the different Unreal Engines, though I think Unreal Engine 4 maybe makes the most sense. I don't know if there's Unreal Engine 5. The idea of modding just kind of falls flat out of the window. I don't know a whole lot of Unreal Engine games that are easily moddable. Payday 2 wasn't super easily moddable in the beginning as well, due to the way that the game loaded assets, and they later added the mod override system, where you could basically insert files into a folder structure, into a simple folder structure, the way that the files are sorted in the actual, like, bundle files as they're called, and the game would load from the mod overrides folder and replace the textures as you're playing without touching the actual files that are in the game, which means if you delete your mod overrides folder, your game will be basically back to square one how it was before. It's a neat system. It's nice that the developers implemented it, because it really made making mods and applying mods more rather much easier, which made a lot more people consider mods up until the point where elitism became a thing. I think there was a time where Payday 2 speedrunning was getting big, and the community basically hated modding for super inane reasons, such as there was this one thing that a lot of people meme about. Now I don't know if this is entirely true, but this is basically what the conflict boiled down to. A speedrun was deemed invalid because someone used black gloves, which, you know, of course makes it play much better if your gloves aren't blue and you're playing vanilla. I think what they were trying to do in that situation, without, you know, interpreting too much of my own there. Having one mod installed could mean that you have other mods installed that work in the background, such as, but not limited to, changing AI spawn rate. If he did that, I don't know if that's the case, that's scummy, because speedrunning is very competitive, and everyone is trying to get, you know, the edge above anyone else, so having cheats ruin a competition is just sad. No one likes hackers, no one likes cheaters, but replacing a couple of textures just so that you can complete your milsim, I want to wear Kevlar at all times, I want to wear the specific helmet, I want to cosplay as John Wick, whatever, thing. That's just kind of stupid. I personally modded the game quite a lot, which, if you look at any of my screenshots, which I mostly privated on my Steam account, you will see that I made the HUD a bit smaller, I changed a couple of textures, I got a couple of things to, for example, change the textures of a couple of mods, weapon mods, because I didn't like their original look, and doesn't really look good in my opinion. Which I probably could have modded this Payday 2 version. What you had to do in the beginning before the mod override system was implemented was that you had to get a bundle modder, which would take these bundles that Payday 2 loads its files from and edit them, change, like replace the textures or things that you wanted to replace. But this also meant that with every update, things could break whenever they like change the texture, or I don't know, something that a mod broke, which you didn't want it to break, of course, but you couldn't know. Could be very, very important in the next heist, and that would just crash you all the time. The mod override system works in a way where, you know, it doesn't replace the base files. So if there's a mod that is breaking your game, you could just remove all of your mods, play vanilla, your game will work without a flaw. That wasn't really the case. That's why a lot of people disliked mods back then as well. If you had mods and your game was crashing, people would tell you that, you know, it wasn't the mods that were crashing your game, even though this game definitely had problems with crashing all the time. Maybe not in the beginning, but later on when they were kind of stripped on time for some content and did money. Oh Jesus. I might actually have to use a medic bag very soon. But yeah. God. So this is where my 5% brain functionality comes into play. Right. So. One of the most important things about modding to me that I want to mention really, really quickly is that Payday 2 had a lot of issues post-content, post-launch content. I'm not talking specifically about like a DLC being bad. There were bad DLCs, Goat Simulator, Chivalry, maybe the John Wick heists. I'm not too keen on them. But you have to consider some of it was free, some of it was paid, all of it came with issues. Goat Sim specifically was one of the more interesting failures in Payday 2's career, where level of detail would basically break the entire game and crash you as soon as you load it into Goat Sim, which made the heist unplayable. Now, what is level of detail? Level of detail is a thing that most modern games use. After a specific distance, a model will start becoming becoming more detailed. The textures will get less detailed. They'll use mip maps, which are basically scaled down textures. And this is to conserve performance. Now that sounds good on paper, but I think it was that they changed the way level detail worked in Goat Sim, and it just broke. It just didn't work the way that it was supposed to. Especially considering that I think Goat Sim was at the time the biggest heist in the entire game. Not the best, just biggest. Really makes you think, doesn't it? I'll just grab one bag and then I'm off. Trying to survive this. But what Modus basically did was, at the time when this was known, there was already a mod to sort of fix the issues that the level detail thing had going for it. Which would get rid of the outlines, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think the entire crash was like in regards to level of detail and outlines. But this wasn't the only time that a modder did something that developers could have basically taken and implemented with maybe changing a couple of things. The modding community definitely made me want to play Payday 2 a lot more. I have my issues with this modding community called Mod Workshop. It's more about users rather than the actual modding itself. I fully support modding. I modded the game myself. I'm not too like into depth, like I don't edit any other files and like make enemies spawn much more or do my own rebalance, that kind of thing. I'm mostly just replacing a couple of sounds, replacing a couple of textures, but even the tiny things can change the game for someone, which is something that is probably going to be lost in Payday 3. And knowing how Overkill works, maybe some of the issues will be a lot more destructive going forward. As I just, mentioned the Goat Simulator. We don't talk about Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator was a shit show. But anyway. This is Payday 2. How it used to be on launch, for the most part. No DLC except for the Nude Bag DLC, which doesn't really count as a DLC. The old skills, the old animations, the old textures for suits. No armor skins, no suit skins. Only 4 characters. It's bare bones, but it's a lot more difficult. And maybe difficulty, as in fair difficulty, where you still have a chance. Which is not what Death Wish, or rather Death Sentence is. Makes or breaks a game for people. I personally like this build of Payday 2 quite a lot, which is why I still have it. I sort of sideload it, because my internet connection isn't that fast, so I can't just re-download Payday 2 all the time. But what I'm basically trying to say here is this build is still playable. If you use the Steam Depot launcher, Steam Depot launcher, downloader, I can't speak right now, it's 2 in the morning. You can install an older version over your current build of Payday 2, which might break some things, so I would be careful with that. Maybe back up your original Payday 2 installation, which is like only 80 gigs at this point, so I don't know. But you can still play online using what is it called? Steamworks. This game uses Steamworks still. I personally would like to see a community come back to this game for one of the older builds, but specifically for one of the older builds, where people still play together, and people bond, and there's no real toxicity, and maybe there's a lot more friendship going on in this game. Because this is also something that Payday 2 kind of lacks nowadays. You have so much toxicity going on. You have people who are not even interested in the game to properly play it enough, and they will kick new players, they will insult you, they will do anything to make your day more miserable. And that is not how I used to remember this game, especially seeing as half of my friends list on Discord still consists of people that I talk to on a daily basis, which I just met through Payday 2, Payday 2 modding, or anything else in regards to Payday 2. I just don't see that really happening anymore, and that kind of makes me sad. And that you could say that a lot of people are seeing the older builds of Payday 2 through rose-tinted glasses, and I would most definitely agree with you on that, because Payday 2 may be a mess right now, but it's still playable. But I also want to say in the same breath that the original idea of the game is kind of gone. Whereas this game incentivizes you to play as a team with certain skills that are more team-based. I think that is mostly Mastermind, but there's also a couple of things in Technician and Ghost, I think. Most people will tell you to play Payday 2 nowadays by just making a build that makes you as overpowered as possible. Getting a perk deck that benefits only you, hosting your own game as well so that you don't get kicked, and just go from there. This game didn't really allow you to just buy heists as is. You would go into CrimeNet, you would wait for the heist that you wanted to play. Watch Dogs is right here. Kind of tempted to do that right now, but I don't think I want to. Oh yeah, Pro Jobs are a thing as well, where you only get one attempt without restarting, and you'd get a bit more XP. But this would mean that hosting your own game was kind of difficult if you really want to play a specific heist. You have a filter here, which, of course, didn't really allow you to search for a specific heist, which it now does. Back then it didn't. But if you saw someone playing and they had a specific heist that you really needed to play for either an achievement or you just wanted to play it but you couldn't host it yourself because it wouldn't pop up anywhere, then you would have to join a random's lobby, which in turn made you entirely dependent on their mood, because they would kick you just before the ending because they felt like it. Host your own game, probably a better idea, but maybe it's also a lot about the community. Why, you know, like, why hosting your own game is such an important thing. It's mainly about the community, actually. Yeah. This is basically everything that I had time for this time around. Well, yeah, before you ask, this no notifications window is from an older version of BLT, the mod hook. I just installed the mod hook, not for like any specific mods, really, like to change the gameplay or something like that. I just wanted push to interact. Push to interact is still not an option in Payday 2 in 2021, and I don't know why, and it's stupid, and I like push to interact. Just give me push to interact. I want to write into the chat while I'm still playing. That's basically the entire reason. But yeah, Payday 2, I would say, is still one of my favorite games at heart, for other reasons than the game being good nowadays. I'm looking forward to Payday 3. I'm looking forward to Payday 3 for the hope of it being a good game. That's all.